And a warm welcome to Art House. I'm Melinda Kinlami. Coming up on today's episode of the program. Last time we had something from Bayelsa State, and today we're going to Kaduna State with a cultural and art fiesta. Then we return to Lagos to enjoy an exhibition by two artists at the Omenka Gallery. We'll give you details after we listen to words of wisdom from the veteran creative we are showcasing on our Art Code segment. Do stay with us.
Primitivism, identity often sought for by members of Western society, exerts a limitation and barrier against the progress of creativity.
Roadless Traveled is a joint exhibition by two young and vibrant creatives at the Omenka Gallery in Lagos.
Roadless Traveled is an exhibition by Bankole Olabode and Derek Jumbo Ogoy, two young and vibrant artists that show a lot of potential, enough to be invited to the Omenka Gallery to showcase their images.
Today's exhibition, Roadless Traveled, is pretty all about the path that most creatives would rather not go for reasons personal to them. It's about the journey of two artists who would dare go through a path that their contemporaries wouldn't venture, for the sake of what modern day art has been reduced.
Creativity, they say, it's a journey that is extreme, that takes extreme courage, and only the brave breaks forth, and especially when you are applying a route or a road less traveled. So less traveled is the exhibition is about the distinctness in style and thought process on artists, and what makes them stand out from their peers.
You see from their works that they're working in ways, although it's painting, they're working in ways that have not been trodden, by some of their peers. They work essentially with symbols, metaphors, and they engage pertinent issues affecting Africa and the rest of the world, from migration to identity, to racial equality, to gender equality. The work of Derek, for instance, you see distorted necks and excessively, exaggerated bodies. And what he's saying is that the neck is symbolic of our resilience as a people as we tackle societal issues.
These creatives explore diverse contemporary subjects, from migration to politics to identity, but they do it through different approaches.
The title of the work is Wrinkles and Fine Lines. So when my thought process when I was creating the piece was the whole thing happening in the society where we can't really afford good meal, we can't really afford good education, we can't really afford, there are some things, there are some life we would like to have, but we are just not chance to have it because of the policy we have in the country. So those were the things, those were my thought process, those were the things that were actually going on in my head when I was creating. So if you see the piece, you'll see a head of a spiky balloon to show how dwindling the economy is and how frustrating that can be. So there in the piece, you are seeing a man which could be married and having a buffet around him, but instead he's trying to eat his own money to show like there's a kind of inflation happening in the country. And at the back of the background, you see a bag showing that, okay, probably that would be a child that is trying to give a good quality education, but as a result of the things going on around in society, he couldn't.
Olabode, his work is also very interesting. His colors are very vibrant, and what he's doing is that he's animating animals, he's animating inanimate objects, and they serve as symbols, essentially, to tackle such societal issues, from gender inequality to migration. He's talking about how we as a people are able to forge our identities, as we tackle or negotiate our space globally.
Pastels, graphite and charcoal, to pen and ink, coffee, watercolor, oil and acrylic, at Olabode's choice media, as he believes variety adds spice to his canvas with engaging conversations. Over the years, my works have actually evolved from being conventional to the unconventional. It's a situation whereby I fuse the aesthetic of surrealism and symbolic imagery to create a contemporary juxtaposition. So I believe that day-to-day, utterance speech, and night-to-night revealed understanding. So in a man's life, life comes to man in phases, and each phase comes with challenges and circumstances. And through these circumstances, man, actualities, are also affected by the way. So using all these pieces, using all these symbols in my work is actually a deliberate thing, because I've come to understand that we like when we see normal picture, like we like ascribing, we're always too quick to ascribe resemblance, like, okay, this person looks like this person. But in order for me to induce my audience into that state of playing a detective, to know what the message entails, I try to remove the face so that it can actually challenge the human mind to think, and okay, instead of looking at the face, they are seeing the entire message bringing to them. As for Derek, the visual arts graduate from the Yaba College of Technology in Lagos, uses human figures to relive childhood experiences while capturing cultural status and identity with his works of art.
It has to do with, it's wrapped around nostalgia, basically, first of all, and my upbringing, and how what's going on currently in my life has also a lot to do with my upbringing and how we go back and forth. It's like we're in a roller coaster in some type of way. So as an older person now, I see current happenings that relate to my upbringing, my experiences as a child, and things that influence my experience. It's all wrapped up in nostalgia. But basically, the main feature of my work is the long necks and that stress on adventure and a strong will to survive.
Well, I think that the works will force us to contemplate who we are as a people. For me, it's a metaphorical search for truth. We're able to assume different personages. For instance, in Olabode's work, he's looking at various characteristics, for instance, of animals, in a way of us expressing ourselves. We're forced to contemplate who we are as people, to take on different personages as we negotiate our spaces in the world. And for Derek, his work is very interesting. He transports us through time, looking at his poses, looking at the people, his classical way of posing, and where he arranges the sitters, and he takes us through time, through history. It's also a contemplative ride. Who are we as people? These are questions that these artists ask. How do we find our perspectives? How do we share other people's perspectives? How do we appreciate one another as people? How do we negotiate our own space? These are some of the issues that these artists, force us to think through. And we're very excited to be showing them today. Omenka has always been at the forefront in promoting the work of African artists, especially, and even international artists, whose work resonates with the African continent.
The overall title of the exhibition is perfect, The Roadless Traveled. Just the approach of both artists to their material is so surreal, and the surrealism is expressed in different ways. Derek Oboye has this elongated necks, and of course his own surrealism, it does have this horror element, but in in the way he extends the neck and really contracts the heads. Bankole Olabode, there's surrealism here as well, but he plays with objects to achieve his own surrealism. He loads objects and covers faces, and he does strange things, like in that painting where he's got a mobile phone connected to a drip and pumping dopamine into the body of the woman. They're both immensely talented, and it's a real, it's always a privilege to witness such explosive talent in our young people.
Everything you are seeing here is, I would always tell everyone that I meet that they are purely revelations. And revelation as a result of me having to have developed this empathetic way of listening to my society, trying to understand people, their experiences, their grievances, and these are the things I actually have in my head, then mixed with my own synopsis about this society where I am living, then to bring out this beautiful work of art you are seeing outside there. So everything is purely from a state of pain, like, okay, I want a better country, I want a better society for myself and for the people who are living around me. So when you check my works, these are the things that my works resonate with hope, resonate with a lot of things that is happening.
The works that I'm privileged to make has a way of pulling you in and making you tap into nostalgic moments. So when you're able to tap into those nostalgic moments, it's only then you can phantom where you're to go next. You understand? So I really want them to find answers to deep questions that they ask themselves, with the mood and the feel of the work. I really want them to be able to uncover and open up their minds when they look at this work, so that as they go back, they will be able to uncover real deep truths in their personal time.
According to Omenka Gallery, it's proud to showcase pieces by these artists, which is keeping with its mandate of representing a fine collection of established and emerging contemporary Nigerian and foreign artists working in an array of media.
Our wordsmith for today is by Elo Daniel, called Youthful Valentine. Fresh and moist, such as youth, black hair and free spirit. Hooray! It's our time to be young. While we are young, let us not forget to embrace our struggles as it comes by the day, to let love spread through our bloodstream like a virus. It's our time to be young, to be intoxicated by our vigor, high spirit, and bowl full of dreams. Youth, a time of many proposals, dangling around like a pendulum clock. While we are young, let us not forget to keep hold of time, because time is a luxury we can't buy, even though we are rich enough to afford it. While we are still young, let us laugh genuinely while we keep our worries in mind. Let us share love and open ourselves to receiving love. While we are young, let us keep in mind youth comes only once in a lifetime, and love only a breath line.
I know Valentine has come and gone, but I could not resist showcasing that wordsmith by Daniel. Your lovely works of art and more when Art House returns in a moment. Do stay with us. These are the works we sent in this week. Let's begin with this one done by Shokwas Damola. It's called So Far Still Good, an acrylic on canvas work. Then this perspective painting using poster color on cardboard is an artwork by Holla Art. It's called The Path. Then In Her Quiet Corner is an acrylic on canvas piece done by Innocent Chikeze. Beauty of an African Child is done by Jolayemi. Auxiliary is an acrylic on canvas piece done by Oluwafemi Afolabi. Shades of Love is an oil fabric collage on canvas work done by Bakare Abubakar Sadiq. Then Baby Oku is an oil painting on canvas piece done by Iwosha Ben. While Focus Dream is Agbola Ifeoluwa's acrylic on canvas work. Then we wrap things up with this digital painting done by Toby Awujola. It's called Dabira. And that concludes the works of art you sent in this week. We appreciate you for sending them in as always and encourage you to keep them coming. Kaduna Festival of Arts, CAFART, celebrated the creativity and the processes and the craftsmanship that define Nigeria and indeed the West African sub-region.
It's the fourth edition of the Kaduna Festival of Arts and Culture, a three-day event which featured several aspects of creativity, but our focus is on the visual arts. In one area, there are works of art done in different media and put together by the founder of CAFART, Ganiya Sani, to reflect what the Northern Fiesta represents.
It's a dream. Sometimes I have to pinch myself like, wow, Kaduna really, how often do we get international, creatives coming here? So it's like, it's been so, exhilarating bringing in these people here, and I'm like a part of that. It's really nice because I've always been passionate about promoting positive narratives of Kaduna, and this is an opportunity to bring people here for them to, tell the stories themselves of what they came and saw in Kaduna and how, they were treated or how they were felt safe and all of that. Yeah. So it's been real, it's been great, and the fact that cultures from different places can come here, recognize themselves in one another. A lot of the exhibitors that came felt the things they were seeing here was reminiscent of where they're coming from, which made them feel like they were not really so far from home.
The artists featured tell us what has motivated them to churn out these pieces. For instance, Abdulrazak Ahmed's works are inspired by his childhood days around the Almajiri practice.
My years of life in the northern area, where I started this all Almajiri thing. I was in Maiduguri. I think the first time I went there was at the age of 12, where I met Almajiri firsthand, and I was able to relate with some of them from that age onward. So I started doing some stuff. There was a major big work that I did that I never sold till date, because it was like my point of reference to my starting point with creating work that are in connection to the Almajiri practice.
Another artist who draws strength from her calm childhood is Fatima Tahiru Atakini, who is from Mali. Art has given her the freedom of expression.
Since I'm a child, I can't speak too much to people. So to express myself, I have to draw, and then my parents understand me. So when I grow up, I want to do medicine. I want to be a doctor, a chirurgical doctor, and my teacher told me, you have talent in drawing. Why you don't go to the conservatoire to present your work and to do the school? And then I present, and I be the only girl who selected by the school to do paint. And then we do 4 years of studio art.
It's different for Ibrahim Chiroma, who already comes from a family of artists but chose to express himself using the abstract form.
I do abstract art. Abstract art is something I went to because I couldn't give the representation. I couldn't get things exact how I wanted. So for me, I went to abstract art. So this one behind me is called King. Yeah, I decided to use squares and lines, and eventually I came up with this idea. And a friend of mine looked at it and was like, "Oh, this was like a king," and I was like, "Oh yeah, true." And she wrote a poem for it. So the moment she wrote the poem and told me King, that's why I named this King. So for me, it was just me expressing how I felt at that point in time.
Nails, thread, and other objects is what Ibrahim Saleh Abubakar, an architect by training, has used to create his pieces.
This is called string art. It's used by use of nails and thread to give out a design. And most of it, you see the forms are more of geometric forms. So this is what inspires the design. The geometry is what gives meaning to the design. You see most of the designs are flowing like this. This is called magneto. So it flows through it gravitates through the center of the art. So most of the artworks you see, they always gravitate towards the center, which gives it meaning, gives it more meaning, and it's more captivating to look at.
Kafat is an annual event that holds in the northern city of Kaduna every year, giving young artists a platform to express themselves.
We have a feel of something from Botswana, but that will be on the next episode of the program.
Next week on Art House. We enjoy this exhibition by Botswana artist Thebe Pitogo titled 7 Propositions for the Origin of Black Body at the Core Gallery in Lagos. We encourage you to keep liking, sharing, and viewing our page so more people can enjoy the ever bubbly and ingenious art scene in the country.
Your Art House experience doesn't have to end when the show is not on television. Interact with us on our various social media platforms. See any edition of Art House on our website or YouTube page. Join our very interactive Facebook page by joining the group on Art House on Channels. We're everywhere.
That's Art House today. We appreciate you for being great company and look forward to interacting with you on our various social media platforms. I'm Melinda Akinlami, encouraging you to stay safe and keep being creative.